You are tuning in to the You Are Loved podcast, where we hope to bring love and kindness to the world.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to another You Are Loved podcast. Today we have an amazing lady, Mariquita Solis. I hope I said that right. And with the You Are Loved, we focus on helping people balance out 3 areas of their lives. Recently, we've specialized in helping working with nonprofits that work with elementary school age, middle, and teens. And we've launched 2 books, A Journey to a Vision, and I am the One of One, a fun workbook for kids to explore. Hold on. Now that we've gone over some of the tidbits of the books of You Are Loved, in addition to an amazing 21-day transformational journey that we've created for all the beautiful women out there, let's get into Mariquita and all the amazing stuff she has going on. She is the Uncaged Heart Coach, specializing in guiding highly successful men who are exhausted by the soul war, the deep contradiction between their public persona and their private, disconnected self. Her methodology is unique. It's forged in her background as a residential treatment coordinator for young boys, where she witnessed the birth of the emotional mask as a survival strategy. As a certified transformation coach, Mariquita guides men to retire that outdated childhood playbook, move past the core wound of shame, and build integrated strength, the clarity, courage, and true power found not in the armor, but in the authenticity. Thank you. Welcome. And if I was saying your name incorrectly again, let me know.
Mariquita. It's a
Mariquita. That's what in my mind, that's what it was supposed to be. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm so happy to have you on, and I appreciate all of your patience. So how did you end up making the transition?
From women to men?
No, you were initially a transitional between the residential treatment coordinator into moving into your business, your opportunities to be able to coach highly successful men through the Uncaged Heart.
Okay, so I was years ago that I worked as a residential treatment coordinator. I went to school at University of Georgia and graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts. And then I decided right when I graduated, I was interested in social work. So I started volunteering and working in social work. And that's when I worked with the little boys. And as the residential treatment coordinator for a group home, and these little boys were around 4 to 8, and they had a lot of anger issues, attachment issues, behavioral problems. So that was very interesting. A lot of them were very, very highly intelligent little boys, and they had learned how to really, I don't like the word manipulate, but how to work through to get what they want, right? I mean, they had beautiful little hearts. So, but it was kind of a shock, because I was not used to seeing little boys who were so violent and who really would go at me. One time I hurt my knee, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going to get that knee." When they got mad, they knew what the target was. So, and they had issues in their lives. They didn't have any real male role models, positive role models, strong men. So after I left unfortunately that position, we lost that company due to one of the staff was molesting the kids who didn't have a record. So that took the whole company down. And so later on in my life, I studied coaching as a transformational coach and with the Institute for Women-Centered Coaching, Training, and Leadership. And I focused on women and shame and the issues that women have. And so in my own experiences with men, I woke up to what the man box is, because I was wondering, what's going on with these guys? Why are they not able to express? Why are they shutting down on me emotionally? And what's going on in our society with this idea that emotions are bad and weak, and women are weak. and so that's what led me to change. I also had people saying to me how they hated men, women wanting me to collaborate with them against men when they found out that I was a feminine empowerment coach. A few women came to me with specifically to team up against men. And that's not what, as a feminine empowerment coach, that's not what I was there for. I was there to help women, and I still am, if anyone's interested, that's a woman, help women step into the union between the masculine and feminine energies, or working with men, people working together, collaborating with others in relationships. So when I saw this attack on men in many ways and men being hurt, that's what made me think, wait a minute, I really enjoy speaking with men and working with them. And I see there's a real need here for women to be compassionate towards men. So it was a turning point in my life where I had to change what I was doing. So I switched to coaching men, which I love.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I love that. And also from being able to see these young men at such, not specifically the same ones, but at such a young age, and seeing some of the traumas and stuff that they've gone through, to now some of these men probably have gone through similar situations as children, and this is who they've become as an adult. It's, that's kind of crazy. My business partner, her son deals with, she's spoken about this on our podcast before, but her son goes through he has ODD. So, and has gone through that. And so she deals with a lot of the stuff that you're talking about now, with him he's got very attached to her. He knows how to manipulate really well. And he is, and she's does everything therapy. She just has sports. She has all this stuff to be able to put positive male role models in his life and go through therapy to help him become into a functional, amazing human being. Because he's got a great heart and he's very kind, but he loves to push boundaries and kind of just see what he can do and manipulate his way through stuff. And so I definitely understand that. And she was one of the ones that created like our one-of-one book for the kids to be able to help them know that they're loved and all that stuff. So I think that's great that you did that. And now you get to experience it on the other end. So I think that's amazing. And I don't think that it's good to be out there man bashing, because there's a lot of amazing men out there that just that are human, just like us women, and are figuring it out like everybody, So, so now in your bio, you talk about the soul war concept. So the tension, like between when someone who they appear to be and who they really are on the inside. So what do you think that looks like in real life for the men that you work with?
Well, from what men have told me that I've worked with, I mean, they say it's like having a cinder block on their chest, crushing them, and they experience something. They experience the repressed emotions in their body. They carry them, and they can feel it in their shoulders, their back. They've said that they, have problems with over regulating emotions and acknowledging feelings. And some say they don't have any feelings when they do have feelings, because I can see how they're affected by situations that they describe in their lives, experiences that have hurt them. So it takes on, and their somatic self, it's their wounds there, no matter what happens. And we have experiences and we have feelings. If we repress them, they're coming out. They'll come out as rage, which is acceptable for men to express rage and anger. They can come out as violence. That's another, unfortunately, acceptable way of expressing for men. Or sickness, illness, and health, high blood pressure, disease. So they're coming out. It's a matter of how and when.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad's going to be 78 in July, and he went through Vietnam War. He dealt with a lot there. He had some unfortunate stuff happen to him when he was a child. And then he has been for over 20 something years been on antidepressants, but he's never gone to see a therapist. He's never worked to emotionally deal with traumas that he's had in his life. And so now he's dealing with a lot more of the effects of that. We were just having a conversation the other day, and I'm like kind of a matter of fact kind of person. And I was just like, listen, I said, you haven't dealt with your past traumas. And I said, a lot of this is coming out, and these illnesses and stuff like that are because of that. I mean, if you had to be on antidepressant medication, that causes side effects, and it's just, and then the high blood pressure and other stuff that he's had to deal with. And he still he's not interested, but, he's going to be 78. So, but so it's unfortunate because my dad has a great heart. He's an amazing guy. He's, just, been through 3 marriages and 1 long-term relationship. And that's been a side effect of him not dealing with traumas and picking and connecting with the wrong person that's not going to be there for him for the long term, So
Very true. I mean, when we repress our own emotions, we don't really know ourselves because then we pretend. I mean, and I talk about this a lot about the half system, living in a half system where we're very logical, but then we shut down the other part of our bodies and we're a complete system. How can we survive when we have data that's coming in, but we don't listen to that data? We only take on half of the data, the logic. And yes, I mean, it's not functional. Because like I said before, I mean, it's coming out no matter what, it comes out. And our cells are listening to everything we are saying, every thought that we have. And when we're spending so much of our energy repressing who we are and holding back feelings, I mean, that's a terrible energy toll. And to have to do that is exhausting. You can't grow, you can't create, you can't really take that mask, that heaviness of the man mask off. And it's like a big armor that's supposed to protect you. And it, as a child, it is what little boys are taught, starting from 2 and 3 years old, told, like little babies are told, you're a boy, you're not supposed to cry. Don't you know you're not supposed to cry? Right. So they get the lesson quickly. And so then they have to put that armor on, that shield on of tough. I'm a man. And that's what those little boys showed me in the residential treatment center. They were tough, nothing was going to, no girl, no woman was going to tell them what to do. So yeah, because that's not what a man is. Women are weak. And so we cannot be like a woman. No woman is going to tell us what to do.
Yeah. 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 So like with that, so they wear this emotional mask, and you saw that forming in the young boys that you were working with. What do you think you saw like in those early stages that's helped you understand how these patterns develop for now, like as grown men?
Well, I saw how beautiful their hearts were and how they were very vulnerable. But then I saw them switch from that vulnerability, which I saw the fear in that vulnerability, and to that tough little boy who didn't need anyone. Right. I saw the different sides of them. And so a lot of times, as women dating men will say, we might only see that tough side, that we don't see that vulnerable man. But I know that vulnerable man is there, that little boy that was so wounded, right? But that's the only way they knew how to survive, because that's what society demands of them. So, I mean, we're looking at men of 40, 50, 60, or 70, 80 years old, like you're talking about, that have carried this armor their whole life, and they don't know who are they really, right? What do you mean take off the armor, talk to someone? What do you mean by that? I mean, this is the only person they know is the one who's been carrying that armor. So it's a scary place to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've ever seen, have you ever heard of Bill Burr? He's a stand-up comic.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah. So if you watch his trajectory he has a lot of stand-up comedy on Netflix, but if you watch his trajectory over time and see his stand-up comedy from the beginning to like where it is now. So from where he was before he was married, he just started dating his girlfriend, to them being married, to him having a child. But in the very beginning, that's how his dad was. You're strong, and he was super sarcastic, and he had rage, and it would come out in like different ways. And he learned to channel that through comedy. But then then he drank, and like, he and like, I was going to say smoke cigars, but and then so like, because through his trajectory, he kind of like weeded all that out, and then really started to tap into who he was as a human. And I think having a daughter and a wife that accepted everything. And so it's interesting, if everyone's seen his like stuff throughout time, exactly what you're talking about shows that trajectory of him before that to him discovering who he is as a man, and knowing that he doesn't have to be so hard all the time. And it changed. His comedy changed too. And he still has that same humor, but it's just less aggressive,
That's beautiful. Yes. And
Yeah.
that's very hopeful for men, that they feel like that they can't change. But it's often been described as like peeling the layers off of an onion, that transformation, when you start to peel off that armor one layer at a time. Is this who I am really? Or who am I? Right.
Mhm.
And what are these beliefs that I'm living by? Who taught me these beliefs? Who taught me that I can't cry? Who taught me I can't feel? Right.
Yeah.
And hearing my some of the men that I work with acknowledging, wait a minute, when I'll say, who is saying that? Who's telling you that you're not good enough? Right. And then they'll say, well, I guess it's my father, that was my father that's still here in my mind. Right. And catching themselves and being able to reframe their thoughts and realize, I'm in control now. I don't have to beat myself up every day. My dad's not here, and I'm not going to take on his role to do that.
No, I think that's beautiful, and I think that's a great question, because you're not accusing them of anything. You're not, putting them on the defensive. You're just asking them a simple question to have them think like inwardly, like to say, who really is saying that, when you're asking them, I think that's great. That's awesome. Okay. And why do you think, so seeing this, like, why do you think a lot of men, like, who have dealt with like a lot of past traumas and haven't become, like sociopaths or psychopaths or whatever, that they have turned, like Bill Burr turned his into comedy? And then some of these other men will use it to become high CEOs, politicians, executives, but they have this drive to become very successful. So how do you think that plays a role in that?
Oh, I'm not really sure I'm understanding your question.
So a lot of the men, right, they're outwardly successful, but they're inwardly disconnected. Okay. So why do you think success often becomes a hiding place rather than a place of fulfillment for the men?
Oh, okay. Well, it's very separate.
Sorry.
Oh.
I get a little wordy sometimes, and I have to process the thoughts in my mind.
That's all good. I mean, those are very driven. Those are what society says, right? I mean, you can do all these things, be a CEO, be the president of president of the United States. You can be whoever you want to be, but how does that tie into the soul? I mean, those are more linear things, right? And the soul connection is not linear. It's messy, right? Life is messy. You can't chart life. You can chart working your way up through a company usually. I mean, but you still need that emotional intelligence, that spiritual intelligence to be able to talk to people. But it's not the same thing. You can have all the awards on your mantle, but have just a dead soul, because you society tells men you have to get those awards, right? And then you'll be happy if you can get the, Lamborghini, you've got the young wife, you got the beautiful house, then you're going to be happy. But how does that translate to soul, to this soul need for connection? Especially if if people are in that material mindset of buying of the outside of themselves, right? The achievements are outside of your inner peace and your inner connection to who you are. Right? This could be void, and you can have everything on the mantle again, and not even know who you are or what you're living for. And we can ask people all day long, what are you living for? And they will say, I don't know. They'll look at me like I'm crazy if I ask them that. Or I'm living to go pick up my kids after work. I'm living for the next paycheck, right? And it's sad when people are struggling like that, and that they don't know what they're living for. And it's sad when society says, yes, get all these things and you'll be happy. And then they just haven't made any connections in relationships, because all that time you're trying to get these outward achievements and you're not able to connect in relationships because you're wearing this huge layer of armor that's going to prevent you from connecting with someone else's heart, because that's what you've been told as a child you have to do. I mean, that worked as a little boy because you were told not to express your emotions, but it's not working as an adult.
I love that. I love that. That was one of the things that we had formatted for. It was really a lot of times for women, and the 3 key areas was relationships with your faith, family, friends. The second is career, and the third is self-care. So we may have to put someone together for men now. But I found that, like, within a lot of very highly successful people, they neglect one area of their lives. So what was a way that we can balance it out, right? So I think it's awesome that you help them do that and help them connect to the one that's the hardest for them to connect to, And you'll find that men that have had an opportunity to connect to that inner circle, inner self for themselves, and really know who they are and what their purpose is, they become like change makers and highly positively impactful, And we need way more men like that. So I think it's great that you're helping to build that foundation for these men.
Yes, we do, because when men are disconnected from their souls, or from their souls, I mean, we're all connected in this world. Whatever I do is going to affect everyone else, right? And so at some level, and then when we disconnect from our souls, if I'm disconnected from my soul, I could just go throw trash out, not care about anybody, and disrespect anybody, anything, and disrespect myself. So the more we cut off feelings, the more men turn off their feelings, the more we all feel the pain in this world.
Yeah. And so I think that's great. So for speaking about integrated, like, strength, I love that part of what you do. So that's power rooted in authenticity instead of armor. So, like, how would you define that in a way someone can begin to embody today?
Well, I would just, first of all, I would sit quietly to be about moving towards authenticity. First, I would say, sit down and ask yourself, what are you living for? What are your morals? What are your values? I would stop during times of the day and ask, what am I feeling? And now, what am I feeling? What am I feeling with love? Not through the linear as a, logical, but, what am I feeling? And now I'm going to analyze it. But what am I feeling through a different lens, the lens of compassion, the lens of empathy towards myself, right? I mean, we can logically, of course, say, well, I feel angry, I feel sad, and just like, okay, well, now I know, I saw it, and that's it. No, we have to be able to hold those emotions, all of them, with compassion. So I would say, start noticing what you're feeling. You don't have to fix anything. Just be aware of it. And start from there, because that's going to connect you back to who you are inside. What do you need when you're feeling this? I feel angry. What do I need? What is that anger telling me? Because all these feelings are telling us something. When we shut down that side of ourselves, we're not getting the data. That's data that tells us something. When I'm angry or I'm sad, that's saying I don't feel safe in this environment, right? And instead of pushing that away, we just go on and power through it. Well, it's not logical to live like that.
Yeah, that's so true. There are so many times, I know women, we speak way more words than men, but there's so many times where I'll have like thoughts that'll go through my brain and I'm like, okay, now I can't say that. I can't say that. I gotta like filter everything out through myself first before I've learned to do that before it just comes out of my mouth. So, and really kind of it, and then do also, I very self-reflective. And then the other thing is, while I think it's great, it's like, why am I feeling like that? Why am I feeling frustrated? Why is my cycle coming up? Is there's what stresses am I having in my life, you know? And it's, I think that, and that a lot of times is when we just start, you know, where is my comfort zone? Am I used to dealing with, am I used to feeling a certain way? So now when I start to have this empathy and this love, this unconditional love that I even have for myself and that I feel from my Heavenly Father or my family, can I recognize it? Can I see it? And how do I feel when I start feeling that? Does it create fear in me because it makes me feel vulnerable and I don't want to tap into that? I just want to block it out because I've been hurt in the past, you know? So I think they probably may go through a lot of that too, you know?
Yeah, and if they're scared to be compassionate, even that would be good, you know, to question, why am I scared to be compassionate to myself? And I shouldn't have used the word scared maybe, but why do I feel the way I do about being compassionate to myself?
Mm-hmm.
What is causing these feelings, or what I mean, because how can we accept all feelings? What feelings am I not wanting to accept? I mean, this is just time to sit quietly. And that's one thing we don't do. We have all sorts of palliative distractions to shut down emotions and not to deal with anything. You know, when we have fights with our partners, oh, well, here's some flowers. Okay, now everything's better, instead of dealing with the issues.
Yeah,
Those,
no.
you know, just
I think
Band-Aids.
I think that's very accurate because I try to, a lot of times will make myself extremely busy so I don't have to deal with certain thoughts in my brain. I don't have to deal with emotions and I don't have to deal with financial stuff or whatever. And to keep myself, well, I've been, you know, working and I've been doing this and whatever. So, but what changes are we making in a positive way in other people's lives? And I think that it's great what you do for men because they really need something like this. They need to be uplifted. They need to be edified. They need to learn how to heal themselves and not be told that they are not allowed to do that. And it's okay for them to be vulnerable with the right people, obviously. And I think that's beautiful. So, so freedom and the uncaged heart. Your message is about helping people live from an uncaged heart. What does that freedom actually feel like? And how does life change when someone gets there?
Well, you're not dealing in transactions. I mean, most of us are living in transactional relationships, and no wonder they don't work, because when the transactions run out, then the relationship fails. So it's freedom when you don't have to keep score and you're doing things for your partner because you want to do them, not because you have to do them, right? And to find a partner like that is amazing. And it's not nobody. I'm not saying it's simple. You have to really know yourself first before you can attract a partner like that. And so the freedom comes from knowing who you are and not wondering. And then you're not just out there kind of blindly looking around for happiness in your life, because you know what brings you joy. You know where your values are. You know who you will hang out with, because you know those people are aligned in that frequency, that vibration that you are. And you're not going to be wasting time or money on things that don't matter in your life. You're very grounded. People aren't going to, you might, so you'll be unshakable. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to fall down some. It means that you're still going to be grounded in your core of your core values and ethics. And there's no more freedom there's nothing more freeing than that. When you know who you are and you can believe in yourself, you will attract the same.
I love that. I love that. So what type of men come to you? Like, who is your ideal client that would be coming to you?
They're usually around age 40 to 60. They have everything that they have been told society demands of them. They have the income, the trips, the house, the cars, everything. And then they feel dead inside. They feel disconnected. They've had divorce after divorce, and they don't know how to create a relationship. These are the men that I work with. And it's about getting them, again, back to who they are. When did they lose that spark? Was it at age 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? What caused that? And how can you get that vitality? We see little boys full of life. And then the older they become, the more shut down they become. And so those are the men I work with, to get back to who they really are instead of blaming others and blaming the world. It's not about blame. It's about recognition and awareness of the human experience. We're all human. And so once we accept ourselves with love and compassion, the more loving and compassionate we can be with ourselves, the more we will attract the same. And what's more beautiful than that? The freedom and attracting love and compassion, because you are love and compassion.
I love that. I love that. So if someone wanted to get some information or reach out to you, and one of the biggest things I was going to say, sorry, before I move to that, is someone who wants the change and someone who's seeking that out, I would say, would be the ones also that should come to you,
Oh yeah, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to go into the trenches. You can't just come. We're not playing just, tiddlywinks here. It's got to be courageous to do this work.
Yeah. So, okay, awesome. So how can someone get some more information on you, and where can they find you? And yeah.
So uncaged-heart.com is my website. I've got an Uncaged Leaders show every week, interviewing men and some women on the man mask and overcoming these blocks that are holding men back. That's every week on my YouTube channel, Uncaged Heart Coaching. So yeah, check out my website. I'm on Facebook. I'm on a lot of the social media. So just Google my name. You can find me, Mariquita Solis.
Yeah. And I don't think I got them, but I'm not sure. But if you can just reply to email and send me the links, and then we'll get them added into the show notes as well. So is there any one last thing you'd like to share before we go? Like inspiration, one of your favorite quotes, one of your quotes, anything.
Well, I would just like to say, always remember, you're never too old to change and to grow, right? And find a safe space where you have someone that is going to support you in this. The worst thing you can do is not take the risk, right? We can stay small, play small, and get nowhere and just shrink. Or have the courage to get out there just a tiny bit, one tiny step at a time, to get what you deserve in life. Because, oh my gosh, once we start exploring of who we are, growth is unlimited. It's in the gifts that come with it are expansive.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing the lives that you change.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. This has been wonderful.
Thank you. All right. Have an amazing day.
Too. Thank you.
Everyone, thank you so much for coming on to another You Are Loved podcast. If you haven't already and you have a child that needs, this is for both boys and girls actually, and you have a teen that is looking to figure out where they want to go in life, and you want to help put a vision board together and then focus through those 3 key areas, then I would recommend that you go and get Journey to a Vision. And then if you have a young child that is dealing with stuff at school, or you just want them to know that they're loved, in addition to like all the love that you're already providing them, and be able to help emotionally deal with a lot of the stuff that happens at schools and children learning how to be children and be decent humans growing up. That is our 1-of-1 workbook. And there's 2 books for this. And you can get them at youareloved.store. So we look forward to having everybody on. And thank you so much for tuning in to another You Are Loved podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of You Are Loved. If you have any topic ideas or would like to be a guest on the show, please hit us up on Instagram at youareloved.store.